This is adamberkowitz. I have some breaking news regarding the red heifer. The Temple Institute has made a statement regarding the ceremony that took place on July 1st. This is a hugely controversial statement. A lot of misinformation and straight up lies have been spread about this. Um, a lot of well-intentioned misinformation has also gotten out. I have to be very careful with this statement. I don't mean to criticize anyone. Um, and I have to be very careful with this. I would like to say that for personal reasons, I am choosing not to be involved any further in the subject of the red heifer and its ongoing developments, um, unless I get specific statements that the Temple Institute asks me to release. Um, and I'm not going to say too much about that. Let me jump into the statement that the Temple Institute released. It's on their website. I'll put the link below. And this is it. I want to point out that the Temple Institute has been educating and working towards the Third Temple for over 20 years, maybe 30 years. I was established by Rabbi Yisrael Ariel, a man I have enormous respect for. About a dozen years ago, the Temple Institute launched their Red Heifer project, and they tasked Rabbi Azaria Ariel, Rabbi Yisrael's son, uh, with finding a red heifer and learning the subject, which is hugely complicated. And very few scholars understand it. And you cannot understand it just from the Bible. There's just too many details. Uh, Jewish tradition holds it is the most complicated and enigmatic biblical commandment that we have. So to say, oh, I understand this Bible verse this way, and that's what it means, is absurd. It's like saying that since you watched a video, you now understand quantum physics. It's a hugely complicated subject. Okay, that being said, let's jump right in, and then I'll tell you which parts are my interpretation and my notes. The Temple Institute on their website wrote, update and clarification regarding the red heifer. In light of incorrect information that has been published regarding the red heifer, the Temple Institute would like to announce. For about 10 years, the Temple Institute has been engaged in preparations for producing the ashes of the red heifer, both from an educational and practical perspective. The observance of these commandments, the raising of a red heifer according to Torah law, and the production of kosher ashes for the purification of the ritually impure is very complex and includes thousands, at least, of details, which require great knowledge and skill in execution. Therefore, the process also includes a number of practical experiments and exercises. About 3 months ago, a practice was held in the Samaria mountains in which a simulation of the making of the ashes of the red heifer was conducted. Of course, ashes of the red heifer that are not made on the Mount of Olives while facing the site of the Holy Temple are completely invalid. The source of that is the Mishnah in a section called Parah, chapter 4, Mishnah 2. It's also described by the Rambam, Maimonides, in his Laws of Parah Adumah, the red heifer, chapter 4, Halacha 5, the fifth law. Therefore, we clarify that the simulation was not only an excuse, part of a series of exercises that were, and with God's help, will continue to be conducted. It was only an excuse. Before we are properly prepared to fulfill the mitzvah according to Torah requirements. The act was not kosher for additional reasons, including a heifer was chosen for the exercise whose overall color was red, but was, nevertheless, the most invalid and unkosher of the heifers in our possession. Its tail was damaged and it had a defect. Likewise, the priestly garments worn by the Kohen conducting the practice exercise were not consecrated. The purpose of the exercise was to improve our readiness for producing the ashes, and indeed, the exercise improved our understanding of the process, as well as the Cohen's skill. The Cohen had to learn how to do this. It's not so simple. And also revealed various weak points that we must deal with, such as the proper way to lead the heifer to its destination. For this reason, the ashes were mostly left by us in place without any care on our part. We did collect samples of the ashes by people who are tamei mate, ritually impure due to contact with the corpse. Therefore, by virtue of the fact that they were handled by people who were ritually impure, those ashes that were collected are therefore rendered ineligible for performing this mitzvah, the commandment of purifying Jews for the temple service. They were collected only for the purpose of checking whether the equipment we have is suitable for the task, and important lessons were learned in this regard as well. In any case, all of the ashes, those in possession of the Temple Institute and those in possession of other parties, are completely ineligible. Anyone who claims otherwise, that the heifer was kosher and that the ashes produced from it are kosher for the purpose of purification, is mistaken and misleading, either intentionally or unintentionally. There are currently 4 red heifers at the Shiloh site, some of which are owned by Rabbi Ariel, head of the Temple Institute. Their Halakhic Jewish law status has not yet been definitively determined, and we are monitoring them. The real red heifer will be made, God willing, when we have a kosher red heifer, meaning the ashes, it will be prepared when there is a kosher red heifer, according to the opinion of the rabbis of the Temple Institute and the rabbis they consult with, meaning this is a rabbinic decision made by rabbinic authorities. It is not made, no one else can make this decision. And when we are ready in all other aspects of the matter, this is a long process that requires patience and perseverance. I am publishing an article about this. I have to be very careful not to say too much, though I have many very strong feelings about it. The red heifer can only be certified by Jewish rabbinic authorities who are well versed in the myriad of laws pertaining to the red heifer. Any person who comments on this, who is not an expert in this, is just saying stuff. They are not stating valid opinions, even valid or verifiable facts. Just because you read the Bible, for example, the Bible says that the heifer should be burned outside of the camp. That's because the commandment was given at Sinai when the Jews were in the desert and the temple service was performed in the tabernacle, which was in the desert. Later, the temple, after King David sanctified the Mount Moriah, the temple was only, and Jews are only permitted to perform the temple service at that location on the Temple Mount. And it was determined and established that, and by the way, this is now my opinion based on facts, that the red heifer would be done outside of the temple in a specific location on the Mount of Olives. The Talmud describes in precise detail where that location is. You have to be able to see from that location into the Holy of Holies if the doors are open. So to say that outside of the tabernacle, as it's described in the Torah, can refer to any place, any location outside of the temple or outside of the tabernacle, anywhere in the world, basically, that is absolutely incorrect. It is a personal interpretation of a verse in the Bible that has a 4,000-year tradition from Jewish scholars who were much closer to the giving of the Torah than anyone alive today. So that would be a horrible creation made up concept that the heifer could be prepared in Samaria, where the practice burning was done on July 1st. And by the way, the reason why I have not made a statement about this, a definitive statement about this until now, is that this is the first definitive statement made by the Temple Institute or any rabbi regarding the, the ceremony that was carried out on July 1st. Okay. There have been a lot of people commenting on it, no rabbis. I should add, as a disclaimer, I was not at that practice ceremony, but I am getting my information directly from the Temple Institute. Okay, that being said, there have been a lot of other fallacies put out there. Okay. The red heifer is only for Jews. Why? The red heifer is prepared, can only be prepared by genealogical, physical descendants of Aaron the priest, what we refer to as Kohanim. The Jewish people have a strong tradition and they are scrupulous about maintaining that tradition of who is a Kohen and who is not. And anyone who is not connected to that tradition, who does not have that family tradition, and I've heard things like from the tradition of the priest of Melchizedek, that's delusional, made up, and has no connection to anything biblical or godly. Okay. That being said, also, the red heifer is used to purify Jews or Israel from ritual impurity imparted by proximity to or contact with a dead body of a Jewish person. Why do I say it like that? Because non-Jews do not become ritually impure. For the simple reason that just as priests require a high level and special laws regarding their personal purity, Jews, in order to serve as a kingdom of priests for the entire world, we have more stringent rules of purity than the average person. The average person cannot become ritually impure, and a non-Jewish dead body does not impart ritual impurity. Non-Jews do not go up to the temple. They don't. They can go up to, around the temple was a fence called the soreg, and non-Jews or non-Israel were only permitted to go up to the soreg, and they would transfer their offerings to the God of Israel to Jews, to the Israelites, who would take it up to the temple, or give it to the Kohen, who would offer it. It's more correct to say. And there's been another misinterpretation of the Bible that has been spreading around. I'm very careful. When I say Jews, I mean Israel. Why is that? The only representatives of Israel in the world today are Jews. Israel was never, is not, and never will be a result of faith. You do not classify yourself as Israel because of a certain belief you have. Judah is a tribe. Tribe was always passed down from father to son. Jewish identity is passed down from mother to children. And I'm going to say it explicitly. Believing in Jesus does not make you Israel. It never has. You can convert, which is changing your identity. It is not a matter of changing your faith. It may include changing your faith. But conversion to Judaism does not mean changing your faith. Your identity as a part of Israel is not a result of your faith. It never has been. To claim to be a part of Israel because you believe in Jesus or you believe in something else is theft. You are stealing the identity, the spiritual identity, and the physical property and the physical identity of the lost tribes of Israel, who God will reveal. God brought the Jews back to Israel. God will bring the 10 tribes back. You are usurping God's authority by saying that you have determined that you are Israel. God decides. He decided that my ancestors were Jews from the tribe of Judah, and here I am. Okay, I have to calm down. I'm sorry. These are very important subjects to me. The red heifer is only for Israel, genealogical Israel, ancestral Israel, not people who believe they're from Israel. Okay, these are all things I wanted to bring. This was quite a bit. Um, and this is as authoritative as I can establish. If I find that aspects are inaccurate, I will come out with a retraction. I have done that in the past when I found that some aspects of what I've said and reported were inaccurate. I feel that's the only the right thing to do, especially when we're dealing with issues that have to do with Messiah and Third Temple. I think it's horrendous when people twist and push their concepts into the process of the return of the Israel by God. It's God's actions, not yours. You can say, oh, I think I'm Israel, or oh, I think this was a kosher cow, or oh, I think that these ashes do this and that. That's you. It's not the Bible. We have kept this tradition for 4,000 years. Okay. No one has ever questioned the Jews. They've questioned whether, whether whatever. But now, for some reason, now that we are actually walking the road to redemption, now that we're very, very close and actually making practical steps towards building the third temple, towards bringing God's vision of redemption, we're that close to bringing it into reality. All of a sudden, there are people coming out of the woodwork saying, no, 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 the Jews are lying. No, the Jews are lying. We have kept the faith for 2,000 years of exile. And you're making it up on the spot. This is our truth. This is the truth that the Jews have held since God first spoke to Abraham. This is the truth that God gave to the Jews at Sinai. This is the truth that was in Solomon's temple, in the second temple that brought us back from Babylonia. This is the truth that we held for 2,000 years. If you think you have something more truthful than that, no. Thank you all very much. Be blessed. I hope to be purified by the ashes of the true red heifer in order to bring my offerings and the offerings of my dear friends from the nations to the temple in Jerusalem, to the Kohanim descendants of Aaron the high priest. I hope to dance in Jerusalem with my children, with you, with your children, all of us dancing for the glory of God. If you think you know what the Messiah is, and you won't accept anything else, then it's not the Messiah. Jews have had the same concept of Messiah. We have been carrying God's word for 4,000 years. We haven't changed it at all. There's a strong anti-Semitic belief that was invented with replacement theology that you can't trust Jews. We don't tell the truth. As a result, there were lies spread. Oh, the Temple Institute is hiding the real red heifer. The ashes are real and they're hiding it. No one's hiding anything. Though, to be honest, maybe we should, because apparently there are a lot of Christians out there who still hate Jews. There are a lot of Christians who love Jews. It's wonderful. They still think that Jews are lying about everything and can't be trusted. Fine. Fine. Go away. We are in Israel. We are an independent nation that serves God of Israel. It's happening. If you want to be part of it, you can't hate us. You have to come and be part of what we're doing. If you don't want to be part of it, that's fine too. You all be blessed. Thank you so much.